Reed Sheppard upstages Victor Wembanyama. The Lakers shut down the Nuggets in the second half in a comeback victory. We got it all in today's episode of Locked On NBA Game Night. Let's go.
When that final buzzer rings, you know it's time for Locked On NBA Game Night. All the post-game reactions to every game across the league, every single night, with insights only the hosts at Locked On can provide. It's the true NBA fans' one stop for all the action. Every game, every night. It's Locked On NBA Game Night. Tipping off now.
Welcome to another edition of Locked On NBA Game Night. Every game, every night. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, and now the #1 sports podcast network. On Wednesdays, I'm your co-host, Jake Madison, at NOLA Jake on Twitter, and the host of the Locked On Pelicans podcast.
And I'm John Karalis, at John_Karalis on Twitter, host of the Locked On Celtics podcast.
We had 7, honestly, not all of them, but half of them were pretty fun games in the association here. Some good storylines, some explosions from players you're not thinking about here. Kind of a fun night, John.
Yeah, listen, it's rivalry week. You got to have some fun basketball games when it's rivalry week.
I learned that today. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Before tip-off, check the FanDuel app and see what's dropping during NBA Happy Hour every Friday from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern. And, of course, thank you for making Locked On NBA Game Night your first listen today and every day. We're here 7 days a week. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Join us on YouTube as well. So let's dive into it with probably the game of the night, a rivalry week game, as John said, and that is the Houston Rockets coming back to beat the San Antonio Spurs 111-106. Let's go over to Locked On Rockets.
The Rockets, with their biggest comeback win of the season, beat the San Antonio Spurs 111-106. What's up? This is Jackson Gatlin, host of Locked On Rockets. And Rockets down 16 in this one, mounted a massive second half comeback, spearheaded by their defense finally waking up and playing up to its usual standard late in this game, as well as Reed Sheppard, who was a team high plus 15 in his 29 minutes off of the Rockets bench, had 21 points, 4 of 10 shooting from downtown, hit multiple big threes during a stretch in which the Rockets held the Spurs scoreless for a little bit over 6 minutes of game time there into the third quarter, into the fourth quarter. And then the Rockets went on a 13-0 run during that stretch that tied the game back up, got them back into this game. And then they had multiple clutch plays from kind of everybody late, some from Alperen Şengün, some buckets from Jabari Smith Jr., Kevin Durant being a decoy offensively, creating for his teammates. It was a team affair to close out the Spurs. And this one, San Antonio was playing on the second night of a back-to-back. You could tell they had some dead legs. The three ball kind of abandoned them as the game progressed. And Alperen Şengün did a lot of damage in the middle of this one, flirting with a triple-double, 20 points, 13 rebounds, 9 assists, completely outplayed Victor Wembanyama in this one.
I got to ask you, John, could it also have been the rims that helped the Houston Rockets in this one? For those who didn't watch, this game was delayed about 15 minutes after Stephon Castle, during layup lines warmups, dunked on the rim, hung on to it, and then completely torqued it and twisted it. It took 15 minutes to get it level. Then in the middle of the fourth quarter, as the Houston Rockets are coming back, they notice, I don't know if it was the same rim or a different one, not level either. So home cooking?
Yeah, man. Listen, you got the Spurs coming in. The Rockets have been kind of up and down a little bit, and you got to get one of these quality wins. However you do it, man. This is called going out there and doing whatever it takes to win, man. Whatever
it is, which is kind of what the Rockets players did in this, right?
And then that's it. How else would the Spurs score 14 points in the fourth quarter?
Yeah, they looked rough. Let's see what Locked On Spurs has to say.
Was a complete collapse in Houston. No liftoff for the Spurs. They were grounded as the Spurs lose after having a 16-point lead to the Houston Rockets, 111-106. Hey, this is Jeff Garcia, Locked On Spurs here, and here to react to the collapse in Houston. Silver and black, heading into this game, it didn't matter amount of lead they had. It could have been a 10-point lead, 16-point lead, 20-point lead. If it's a double-figure lead this season, this Spurs team has made it a bad habit to blow leads. Point number one, again, that is my first point, I should say. That is it right there. This team could not handle leads. They blew a 16-point lead to Houston. Point number two, they couldn't find the bottom of the bucket. Yeah. In the fourth quarter, when Houston is mounting their comeback, Silver and Black, 0 for 13 from the 3 line, 7 for 28 from the field. Good for 25%, everybody. Where was Wemby? Now, for the game, he finished with a double-double, but this is definitely not Wemby-like numbers. 14 points, 10 rebounds, all right, in 30 minutes. He didn't go off the bench. This is a starting now. 30 minutes, that's what he gives you. He was good for a -14 for the Spurs in the plus-minus column. And when the Spurs needed him most in that fourth quarter, when everything was all falling apart, yeah, your all-star starter, 2 points, 4 rebounds, no blocks in the fourth, and he was a -13. Mitch Johnson alluded to that. It was just a little bit of everything. But he highlighted the fact that this team didn't have any mental toughness. When Houston pushed back, when Houston upped their defense, Spurs wilted.
Pretty much, right? Like you saw them in the fourth quarter just look incredibly uncomfortable. And Jeff talked about Victor Wembanyama not delivering. They couldn't even get him the ball to try and let him deliver at times.
Yeah. You know, I think when it comes to the Spurs, like let's also keep in mind that them being this good was a little bit of a surprise, right? Like no one expected them to be this good. So I've said this before. January is where like the surprises start to kind of like level off a little bit because you've got the real grind of the schedule. The January doldrums are real. People's bodies aren't really 100%. Mentally, you're at the halfway point of the season. The 41 games or so have worn on players. And this is a young team. Wemby is 22 years old, and he's still, even though he's a freak of nature, still figuring things out. This team is still figuring things out despite their early success. So, yeah, when you have a fourth quarter like that where the shots aren't falling, it affects the whole thing. And, 0 of 13 from 3 is such an aberration that I'm not even really concerned about it. Most nights, like 9 out of 10 nights, you're going to hit, even on a bad night, you're going to hit 3 or 4 of those. And if you do that, you win the game. So the Spurs could easily look at that and be like, shooting variance, not a big deal. But it's more that mental thing that they were talking about of you got to find a way to put the misses out of your head, settle down, and go out there. I always say the fourth quarter, when you've got a lead, is just about making buckets. It's not about hitting certain shot. It's just go out there and make some buckets, find a way to find that mental toughness. Spurs didn't do it. It's a good learning experience for them more than anything.
Yeah, look, there's still a lot of room for them to grow, and as long as they're playing their best basketball at the end of the season, which it seems to reason they can get there, I think they're going to be in a really good spot. All right, next game we want to cover. The Chicago Bulls blowing out the Los Angeles Clippers, 138-110. This one was all 3-point shooting for the Bulls.
25. Listen, you make 25 3-pointers, you're not losing the game. You're just not losing. That's one of those, again, shooting variants, right? It's the opposite of what just happened to the Spurs. You go out there, you hit 25 of 47 from 3. That's great. Kobe White, 6 of 10. Herter, 4 of 8. Desumu, 4 of 5. Like that all of these, Bucelis, 4 of 8. It's super hot shooting night. And then you're going up against the Clippers, who, hey, the Clippers are back.
No Kawhi Leonard, yeah.
Oh, no, Kawhi Leonard. A knee injury? You don't say. And so, you got the two sides of the coin there where the Clippers get that kind of news, and they're going to struggle. And, the Bulls, once you get going, especially a team like the Bulls, right? They can be so streaky. So, but that's one hell of a streak, man. 25 made 3-pointers, one hell of a streak.
Yeah, James Harden, this one, 24 points on 25 shot attempts. He was 9 for 25. It's always fun when a guy has more shot attempts than points scored, and like, who's that going to be? It's pretty hard to do that when you have 24 points scored as well.
You know what this is? This is what happens when he doesn't get the foul calls, right? Because
he got to the line 3 times. That's it.
3 times. What the normal prime James Harden game is 9 of let's say 9 of 18, so there'd be 50% shooting, and those other 7 would have turned into 14 free throws, and he would have been 16 of 17 from the line, and it would have been a monster game. That's
significantly different.
That's what this is. This is James Harden when he doesn't get the foul calls versus when he does. When he doesn't, they all become missed field goal attempts, and he shoots 9 of 25. When he gets the calls, he shoots super efficiently and has a 40-point game.
All right, we're going to stay talking about Los Angeles coming up here next because the Lakers came back from 16 points down to beat the Denver Nuggets. We'll tell you what they did in the second half that got them this win. That's coming up here next to today's episode of Locked On NBA Game Night. Today's episode of Locked On NBA Game Night is brought to you by FanDuel. Fridays already feel different during basketball season, and FanDuel is making them even better. Every Friday night before the games tip off, FanDuel gives fans a new way to kick off the weekend with NBA Happy Hour. NBA Happy Hour is your official pregame, a limited time window where special offers drop right inside the FanDuel app before the action starts. So Fridays from 6 to 7:30 Eastern have become appointment viewing with NBA Happy Hour because opening the FanDuel app during Happy Hour is going to bring you something new every time. Boosts, bonuses, and even surprises. It's easy to check the weekly special before tip-off and make a move before the window closes. And the timing's perfect, right before the games, right before the weekend starts. So before tip-off, check the FanDuel app and see what's dropping during NBA Happy Hour every Friday from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern. A little basketball, a little action, and a whole lot of Friday energy. That's NBA Happy Hour only on FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NBA. And thank you for making a Locked On NBA Game Night your first listen today and every day. We are here 7 days a week covering every single game across the association. I'm going to probably make Locked On Nuggets my second listen because I feel like this loss is going to have them panicking a little bit. They've done a really good job without Nikola Jokic, and it looked like they were going to do a really good job against the Los Angeles Lakers, going up 16 points. But the Lakers win this one 115-107 behind a dominant second half. Let's see what Locked On Lakers has to say.
Kamenetsky, co-host of the Locked On Lakers podcast. The Lakers get a 115-107 win over the Nuggets in Denver. One of the best wins of this season and perhaps the biggest comeback of the season for the Lakers. The game, frankly, began disastrously for LA. Denver shot roughly 1,000,000,000% from behind the arc in the first quarter. The Lakers gave up 9 points in the final minute of the first half, which included Luka Dončić somehow getting a technical after an and one basket. The Lakers gave up 71 points to Denver in the first half, but in the second half, they really cranked up their defensive intentionality, the intensity, the physicality. Luka Dončić finished the game with 38 points, 13 rebounds, 10 assists, and 2 steals, just 3 turnovers. LeBron, a near triple-double himself with 19 points, 9 rebounds, 8 assists, some huge fourth-quarter threes from Marcus Smart, an 8-game road trip off to a great start. For more Lakers coverage, make sure you're watching Locked On Lakers on YouTube and listening wherever you get your podcasts.
Intentionality sounds like a word that Ron Pelinka would use.
Yes, it does. Yes, that defensive intentionality was really on display. I got it.
I mean, it was actually.
Well, look, I've seen it. You know, the Denver Nuggets have, like you said, have done well without Jokic. That, you know, one of those games was in Boston. I watched Jamal Murray have, you know, up close and personal, have like a monster game. And he's been fantastic. And he was absolutely special again in the first half. But then second half was, you talk about complete opposite. 2 shots in the third quarter, 4 shots in the fourth quarter for, you know, a guy that's been playing at an all NBA level. That is, you know, the defense had something to say about that. And that's where the Nuggets really fell apart. They couldn't get anything going in the second half.
Yeah, you had Jamal Murray with 26.7 assists, just 1 turnover at halftime, and he scored 2 points the rest of the way. As look, the Nuggets scored just 36 points in the second half of this game, where LA just decided to close off the passing lanes and just make this team shoot from outside, it felt like. And you could see some of the legs, just tired legs, catching up to the Denver Nuggets in this one. And they completely fell apart. Their offense got stagnant. They couldn't find a way to get any sort of to get any of the Lakers defense in rotation at all. It just led to them just smoking them, basically, it felt like.
Yeah. And, you know, 2 of 12 for Tim Hardaway. You need when Murray doesn't have it going in the second half, you need something from somebody else. And Hardaway,
they just don't have those guys at times.
You're asking Hardaway to do a lot. You're asking, Peyton Watson. Now, Peyton Watson has been. We talk about Jamal Murray, but Peyton Watson has been a major reason why.
Yeah, watched him do that in person in New Orleans.
Yeah, right. Like Peyton Watson has been a revelation. We're going to be talking about Keonte George in the next segment. Like these guys have been like the all revelation team this year. And he didn't exactly have the best shooting night. So he was 4 of 8 from 3, but 7 of 17 overall and 18 points. It's just not the type of kind of supporting thing. When Jamal Murray doesn't have it going, somebody else has to step up. But like you said, they're taking away the passing lanes. They're taking away the opportunities for Murray to get these guys going. So, look, the Lakers, when they put it together defensively and they have Luka Dončić doing, super special things, they look like a team that you're like, well, hey, this is a team that can. The problem with the Lakers is they don't do it all consistently.
Yeah, 38, 13, 10 assists for Luka Dončić in this one. They also had a good Marcus Smart game, it felt like. 15 points from him. Like, when you get that kind of contribution from him, it feels like, they're just having one of those kind of nights.
You can't waste, talk about something I know from experience.
Yeah, you can't waste those games.
Not waste Marcus Smart shooting well from 3. And look, he'll go through those stretches of extended, like he'll go on super streaks. When he's out there hitting them, you gotta, first of all, you gotta keep feeding the hot hand, but those are games you have to win. And they have lost games where he has shot well. Those are the super disappointing ones for the Lakers.
Yeah.
But yeah, when he's got it going, obviously we know what he can do defensively, and he was a +6 in the game. When you look at the starting lineup, like even Luka with all of his was a minus. Just a couple of them. Like Marcus made a positive impact throughout this.
Yeah, speaking of super disappointing, that might be the Golden State Warriors in the wake of the Jimmy Butler news, and they lost to the Toronto Raptors 145-127. I'm struggling for words. Like, what do you say at a funeral kind of thing here? Because that's kind of what it felt like for the Golden State Warriors. They just looked done. Like, you could see it. Steph Curry just the body language from him, the look on his face. He was like, "Oh, this season is just over for us."
They're cooked. Like, Jimmy Butler's career might be over. I mean, he said he's coming back, but and he will come back. But I don't know how a guy his age comes back from an ACL injury at this point and is what he used to be. He wasn't even what he used to be as it was, despite him having a pretty good season. But regardless, that's a real Draymond Green inadvertent kick to below. You know what I mean? Like, that's what this is to the Warriors.
It's brutal. Like, they don't have it. There's just no way you can replace what Jimmy Butler was giving.
Well, no, there is a way. There is a way you can replace it. Yeah, like
you have a time machine.
We're in a race to make the joke about Jonathan Kuminga. There is a way to replace it. Is you get Jonathan Kuminga, who he did play in this game, and you're like, oh, what did he do? Oh, 20 points, Jonathan Kuminga. Like, why not? But that you hear people in the inside talk about how that relationship is just torched, and maybe the Warriors can figure out a way to kind of get that relationship back on track. I mean, you hear, the comments about like the market for Kuminga isn't there, and maybe Kuminga's camp will hear that there's no place for him to be traded, and that'll lead to him finding look, I will come back and play. I don't know. There's a storyline here to be had where Kuminga has like this this resurrection in Golden State, filling in for Jimmy Butler. We'll see. I don't know if he can get there. Meanwhile, on the other side, another guy who could be traded, Manuel quickly, just dropped a 40 piece. I know the Raptors are looking to shop him. This could be just like a, hey guys, if anybody wants me, look at how good I can be. So you got that going out there as well.
Yeah, look, They also, I think, need a time machine to try and go back and handle the Kuminga situation better and just develop him a little bit more would be good. Like part of it is he's not consistent enough. Like this just, right. It speaks to, they have botched this so badly. And in the one time you have this situation where it's like, oh, he could ride in and be the savior for them. And it just feels like maybe he still is, but if you had just played him games, maybe that would have been the thing. Like when Curry went down in the playoffs last year, he stepped in and was scoring 20 plus points. It's like, yeah, you should have found a way to make it work.
Look, I'm not going to pretend to know the inner workings of the Golden State Warriors to see why this relationship got as bad as it did. But there's no doubt that this relationship shouldn't be this bad. Kuminga could have been better. He is capable of scoring. I don't know whose fault it is, but somewhere along the way, you probably can blame both sides pretty strongly for a relationship that right now, if it was better, he would have so much more of an opportunity. This is a golden opportunity for him to step up. But the Warriors, they just don't look great. The vibes there are
bad.
Kind of bad. And, it's a shame because Steph Curry is still good. He's an all-star starter. He's still good, and it's all being wasted.
Yeah, pretty much. All right, let's move on. We've got a stunning Jazz win over the Minnesota Timberwolves. Jalen Green makes his return for the Phoenix Suns, and more coming up here next in today's episode of Locked On NBA Game Night. Today's episode of Locked On NBA Game Night is brought to you by Quo. New year, new systems. This is the time when a lot of us look at the messier parts of how we run our businesses and think there's got to be a better way. And there is. Streamlining your communications is one of the quickest upgrades you can make. That's why today's episode is brought to you by Quo, spelled Quo, the smarter way to run your business communications. Because when your team is reachable, organized, communicating all in one place, you're not just working cleaner, you're creating more opportunities to connect with customers. And I love how Quo makes everything easy. Your whole team can call and text from one shared business number so nothing gets missed. And everyone sees the full conversation thread, which makes replies faster and more personal. And it works right from your phone or computer, and you can keep your existing number. And Quo's smart AI tools automatically log calls, summarize conversations, highlight next steps. No detail is ever going to slip through the cracks. So it's no surprise Quo is the #1 business phone system on G2, trusted by more than 90,000 businesses, from solo operators to growing teams. Make this the year where no opportunity and no customer slips away. Try Quo for free, plus get 20% off your first 6 months when you go to quo.com/lockedonnba. That's QUO.com/lockedonnba. Quo, no missed calls, no missed customers. And thank you for making a Locked On NBA Game Night your first listen today and every day. We are here 7 days a week. We are going to cover literally every game in the NBA this season. So please subscribe. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, now the #1 sports podcast network. John, you kind of hinted at it, but I'm actually going to make Locked On Warriors my second listen today after the way we kind of talked about that team and seeing the big picture in the direction that they're going to need to go. All right, 3 more games that we want to cover here, and let's go to the Phoenix Suns beating the Philadelphia 76ers. Let's see what Locked On Suns has to say.
That was absolutely electric. The Phoenix Suns defeat the Philadelphia 76ers 116-110, and no one really cares about what happened in this game. This was the return of Jalen Green. And the one thing you cared about tonight was not his points, was not his efficiency, was not even what he did defensively. And there were some spots defensively we can get to as well. It was, how did he look in terms of health? Was he walking around gingerly? Was there maybe a look of, oh, he doesn't have that explosive first step that is kind of his patented thing, getting to the basket? Did he look like he was limited at all? No. He looked like Jalen Green, the explosive, hyper-aggressive athlete that has some efficiency concerns at times, but under the right system, under the right offense, maybe as the second or third option, can be a real deal NBA player. And tonight you saw that. He was 4 for 11 tonight. Shook Quentin Grimes out of his sneakers on a crossover, a step back 3-point jumper. You saw the flashes. You just need to see him stay healthy. Some nice defensive possessions late in this game on Tyrese Maxey. Jalen Green tonight helping the Suns get a big fat W in Philly.
All right, let's go over to Locked On Sixers.
Suffer another tough home loss, dropping a 1-3 in this homestand following Tuesday night's 116-110 loss to the Phoenix Suns. Suns were 0 for 6 from 3 in the first quarter, and then the Sixers defense allowed them to go 16 for their next 33 on the night, including a 40-point third quarter. Sixers got 25, a team high from VJ Edgecombe. They got 21 from Kelly Oubre, but Oubre was held scoreless in the fourth quarter and a little too late for Tyrese Maxey to turn it on. He had 10 points going into the fourth quarter and finished with 20 on the evening on 7 of 25 shooting. No Paul George, no Joel Embiid in this one for the Sixers. They'll hope to have them back in the lineup Thursday night when they play host to Kevin Durant and the Houston Rockets.
That's a good way to ease Jalen Green back in when you don't have Joel Embiid or Paul George out there.
Yeah. No, it's great. I mean, look, the Suns are a nice surprise this season. They've done, they've done better than I think a lot of people expected them to do. And getting him back, getting him healthy, getting him some opportunity here against the Sixers team that's up and down. And, listen, the Sixers normally play better, a faster kind of style without Embiid. And it's usually a big Maxey Edgecombe kind of dual performance in those situations. But you just talked about James Harden having an inefficient night, 20 points on 25 shots for Tyrese Maxey.
Not great.
I mean, out of character for a guy that's having an incredible season, but not great. And, that's just, it's tough. The bench points, they got outscored by 30. The Suns bench outscored Phillies by 30. That's just very, very difficult to overcome.
Yeah, you said it. There you go. All right, moving on. Let's go over to the Utah Jazz getting a surprising victory over the Minnesota Timberwolves. Breakout performer in this one. Let's go to Lockdown Jazz.
The Utah Jazz stunned the Minnesota Timberwolves 127-122 back at the Delta Center. Keonte George with a statement performance against Anthony Edwards. David Locke of Locked On Jazz. Keonte George's career high 43 points tonight carries the Utah Jazz to the win over the Minnesota Timberwolves. Jazz trailed by 12 heading to the fourth quarter. It's the first time all year Minnesota has lost a game while leading by 15. They're one of 5 teams this year that had not lost a game when leading by 15, and the Jazz came from behind, outscoring the Timberwolves 43-26 in the fourth quarter. They got a brilliant night from Jusuf Nurkic, who had 16 points, 18 rebounds, and 10 assists. It's only the second triple-double by a Utah Jazz member since Carlos Boozer did it against the Seattle Supersonics. Ace Bailey hit 20 for the Jazz, including 3 threes, 18 off the bench for Isaiah Collier, who dominated the fourth quarter, going 5 of 5 from the field, picking up the tempo, driving the basket, and changing the game. And Kyle Filipowski came off the bench for 11 points, 8 rebounds, and 4 assists from the Jazz as they got stalwart performances across the board to stun Minnesota, sending them to their 3rd straight loss, while the Jazz ended a 4-game losing streak.
I would like to mention when he's talking quickly about Jusuf Nurkic. Nurkic has a 5x5 game. And I don't think enough people know that random stat. Let's go over to Luck.
He had a 5x5?
Yeah, Jusuf, not in this game. Sorry, in his career. In his career, which is like maybe the most random guy on that list, I think. Let's go over to Lockdown Wolves.
The Minnesota Timberwolves find a way to lose to the lowly Utah Jazz on Tuesday night by 5. I'm Ben Beacon, host of the daily Lockdown Wolves podcast. And this started out as a big Minnesota lead. Felt like they were going to easily win this one by double digits, as they should have. But Utah came storming back in the second quarter, outscoring Minnesota and actually taking a 1-point lead to halftime. And then the Wolves surged ahead in the third quarter, took a 12-point lead to the fourth, and it felt like they were going to be able to pull away. Unfortunately, though, the Timberwolves bench gave that lead back. And then Anthony Edwards just didn't have a great shooting night. He had 38 points, but it took him 28 shots to do it. Fine, right? He got the line 12 times, made 11 free throws, but he was only 5 of 15 on threes. A bit uncharacteristic from what we've seen of late. And the Timberwolves defense was the bigger issue. Keonte George scored a career-high 43 points for the Jazz. and nobody else really joined the party. There were some nice Ace Bailey plays here and there, but the Jazz played hard, and Minnesota's defense just was not cohesive. Credit to Utah for playing hard throughout, and Minnesota had a couple bouts of we're too cool for school, we should win this game easily, and came back to bite them. And ultimately down the stretch, even with chances to tie and go ahead in the final couple minutes of the game, and extend the game, really, the Timberwolves missed some open jumpers and ultimately lose by 5 to the Utah Jazz.
It's Keonte George, 43 points. What a night.
What a night. What a season. He's just been incredible. Look, the Jazz are looking for their star players, and Keonte George, maybe not like the star player but he's one of their key pieces moving forward. This has been an incredible year for me. Like the Jazz, I don't care how many games they win this season because Keonte George is having such an incredible year.
Look, 24 points on the season, almost 7 assists per game. Like he's just been
great,
really good. Nurkic has been good for them this year. Marketing, we know what he's capable of. Like there's some nice pieces there. You even got 20 points from Ace Bailey in this one, right? Like there could be something there. I think
if they listen, man, they get one of those top lottery picks. They're all of a sudden the Jazz. We're talking about the Jazz in a much different way in the next year or two.
Yeah, they're tanking. Patient rebuild, if you want to call it that, could pay off. We'll see. All right, final game of the night. A team that needs a rebuild is the Sacramento Kings, losing 130-117 to the Miami Heat. Let's go over to Locked On Heat for their opinion.
After losing to the Warriors in Golden State on Monday night, the Heat bounced back in Sacramento, beating the Kings 130-117, a needed bounce back win for the Heat. I'm Wes Goldberg from Locked On Heat. And the story of the game here was Bam Adebayo. It was after winning Eastern Conference Player of the Week, it was a rough outing for Bam against the Warriors. He missed 12 of his 13 shots in that game, and then started this game in Sacramento missing his first 3 shots, but after that made 8 of his next 12, including a dunk, a three-pointer, a nice dream shake in the middle of this game. Bam refinding his touch that helped him win Eastern Conference Player of the Week not that long ago. And when Bam is playing like that, everything else opens up for the Heat offense, right? He's able to get into the middle of the floor. He's able to attract the defense, and Miami's able to start making threes. They made more than 23 pointers in this game. They are still undefeated this season when they've made more than 23 pointers. A good win overall against the Sacramento Kings team that is not very good, but beggars can't be choosers. The Heat are trying to string together some wins. We'll see if they can get another one here on Thursday against the Portland Trailblazers.
Oddly chippy in this one is DeMar DeRozan like twice got into it with the Miami Heat for some reason.
Oh, yeah, everybody wants to fight the Miami Heat. Jake, before we go, we got to play our favorite game.
Oh, yeah, let's do it.
Is this real or fake? Just ask John and Jake.
I'm going to ask you the same question you asked me in the last episode. Should Bam Adebayo be shooting 3-pointers?
Okay.
It's real. What did I tell you last week? It was real.
Well played. I was not expecting that. Well played. Yeah, look, why not? If it gets them going, if it gets them winning games, that's what they need them to do.
This is exactly the effect. The 4 or 5 for shooting from 3, the effect, like Wes was just talking about, opening up the offense for everybody. This is why Bam shoots threes. This is the season for him to expand his game and see if he can be this guy consistently. If Bam Adebayo can be a 3-point shooter, not 4 of 5, but just 1 of 3, 2 of 5 here and there, he changes the entire Miami offense. I'm just letting you know that that's something that next season, if he just does that consistently, it changes the Miami offense. So they don't have to play whatever. They can actually run pick and rolls and all that stuff.
Yeah, there's no pick and rolls in that offense. So it feels like you're going to need to include them in at some point. We'll see. I'll give it to you right now. I'm not sold on this long term, but I'll give it to you. I'm like breaking my chair here. Give it to you right now.
I'll take it.
All right, that's where we're going to end today's episode of Locked On NBA Game Night on Wednesdays. I'm your co-host, Jake Madison, at NOLA Jake on Twitter, and the host of the Locked On Pelicans podcast.
And I'm John Karalis, at John _ Karalis on Twitter, host of the Locked On Celtics podcast.
I'm going to get you back next week for that one. See y'all next time. It's coming. Be prepared.
Bring it.